Welcome to The Favorites, the podcast presented by Bet365, part of the Action Network. Today is our Week 8 Tuesday NFL episode. I am Chad Millman, Chief Content Officer of the Action Network. We are coming off of a 4-1 week in our contest, including two of our biggest bets of the year in the Ravens as short home dogs over the Lions, and the Eagles as short home dogs over the Miami Dolphins. We are professionals. We don't dwell too long on the success. We don't count our cash. As Mike Tomlin would say, this week is the week. Last week is the week. Next week will be next week. And that starts with our recording of our Sunday episode before Sunday Night Football. And as we said on that show, a lot of lines we liked have already moved, which is why you need to listen to the Sunday show if you want to get the best of the number. Today, we will get to our Simon Says and our exec decision. This episode will look at the entire board. As we begin narrowing down the 5 picks, we'll enter in the Favorites Podcast $100,000 Pro Football Pick'em contest. Still open for sign-up, still free to play, still awarding weekly and season-long cash prizes at favorites.actionnetwork.com. Now, let's bring in my co-host, my BFF, my companion, my compadre, professional bettor, Simon Hunter. Simon, yesterday, Matt Mitchell told me that we are currently in the top 5% of our 12,000-person contest. I know I said we don't count our cash during the season. I got to tell you, I do feel so much better on Mondays when we have won and are not shamed in front of our listeners and viewers. I want to win for them, but I need to remind everybody, it doesn't matter where you are in the leaderboard right now. The contest leaderboard will get shaken up when everyone's 2 lowest scoring weeks are dropped after week 12. That's after Thanksgiving. That's when you know if you still are in this thing or not. But Simon, still, it's nice to be winning rather than losing.
Yeah, nice start, brother. 22-13. The Eagles came through. They're the 1 seed, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. Putin might be dead. That's pretty exciting. We might have got Putin finally. And yeah, Game 7 World Series tonight, Chad. There's a lot going on right now in your boy's life. So for pretty exciting times right now.
It's Game 7 of the Phillies tonight. We have the start of the NBA season tonight. The number 1 guy in the contest right now has 28 wins. We have 22 wins. So we are 6 wins, 6 games behind right now. But by the way, it's top 2% of the entire contest, top 5% of active weekly participants. As a reminder, the contest and the podcast is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boosts with them than with anyone else. Every day, they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays, and they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boost. Check out the boosts and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Colorado, Iowa, New Jersey, Ohio, or Virginia, or 18 or older in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, and restrictions apply. As a reminder, catch every episode of The Favorites live on YouTube. So for those enjoying on YouTube, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. Here's our Week 7 roundup. We had 201 entries, finished 5-0, a 2-way tie for first place. Congrats to our winners, Chris Thiels and MSD42. This week's Producer Cup Award goes to Claudio Gotts for finishing dead fucking last in the Week 7 contest, going 0-5 and missing the tiebreaker by 400 yards. Claudio, please email our producer, Matt Mitchell, at podcast@actionnetwork.com to claim your non-cash prize. Thanks for playing. Week 8 in the contest is live. The Monday Night Football tiebreaker is total passing yards on Monday Night Football. Good luck, everybody. All right. Quick futures update. Justin Herbert, 25-1. That ticket is dead, as Simon likes to say. Tyreek Hill to lead the league in receiving yards 9-1. He is all alone in first place by nearly 100 yards. Jalen Carter, dominating performance against Miami. He was blowing the middle of that offensive line up from the very first play. Got him at 7-1, still minus money to win. DROY, Josh Allen to win MVP at 10-1. It's going to be a tough sled. Christian McCaffrey to win MVP 15-1. Going to be tough. Week 8, my friend. Week 8. Bucs at Buffalo Bills. Thursday night football. My very first instinct on this, Simon, Bills bounce back. Spot in which Josh Allen tends to cover. When he wins at home, he covers. I'm very worried about this defense. Matt Milano, Daquan Jones, Tre'Davious White, all out. Impact was obvious against the Jags, obvious against the Pats this week, giving up a Mac Jones game-winning touchdown at the end. These guys are all out for the season, basically, and you're missing playmakers at every level of defense. So I don't even know how to handicap this team right now because they are so different without these guys.
Yeah, nightmare scenario for Bills fans, the Bills team. It's just some years it breaks your way, some years it doesn't, and this clearly is not breaking the Bills' way. So I'm not honestly don't hate our Josh Allen MVP bet just because he'll have to be the MVP for them to make the playoffs. Like this, it's truly all on him now. Like he's always going to have to be highly competitive. So, gut instincts. I'm going to probably take Tampa, but we say it every week. You just bet prime time unders. I have to beg you people to do it. I know it doesn't feel natural. Evan, we go 2-1 last week. I feel like I won money last week. I'm pretty sure we went 2-1. So yeah, Thursday we got blown the hell out. That went way over. It stayed under. Sunday night stayed under. Thank you to Swift. I believe Swift fell down, so we didn't get the touchdown there. Or maybe the Eagles just kneeled it. And then last night, weird things happen. We got the under again. Yeah, Evan just put in our chat. It's 16-7 this season, primetime under. So if you're like me and Chad and you're not like feeling too confident about taking either side, just go under. Just take the smart bet. But Tampa feels like they're the play here. It's like who are the Bills to be getting this many points? This Chad just said all the reasons why this is not the same team as they have been in the past. So yes, Josh Allen with the good defenses, he used to steamroll teams. I mean, they're just not the same defense they've had these past couple seasons. So glaringly, the biggest weaknesses coming into the season for the Bills team was the offensive line, and they were really top heavy on defense. They had a lot of stars and scrubs. They've lost those stars. So yeah, tough times for Bills fans. They still might be able to win that division with Miami, battling Miami for that division, but them being the number 1, number 2 seed in the AFC, that's gone now with these injuries and the way they've been playing this year. So yeah, Tampa plus 8.5. Luckily, me and Chad can't put this in the contest. I don't think we would anyway.
No. I mean, look, you're right about the AFC. Right now, they are behind the Chiefs and Miami with the longest Super Bowl odds, or the shortest of the contenders, the longest of the contenders for the Super Bowl. I want to talk about the Rams and Dallas. Rams visiting Dallas. Cowboys 6.5-point favorites at Bet365 right now. The line moved from 6 to 6.5 to 7, back down to 6.5. Dallas is off of a bye. Dallas leads the league in pressure rate. The Rams O-line is bottom 10. And in the second half against Pittsburgh, they couldn't move the ball because the O-line was terrible. We hate on the Cowboys. I don't think Mike McCarthy is a very good coach, a very good play caller. Dak in this spot, 31-7 straight up as a 6 or more fave, 26-11-1 against the spread. At home, he is 21-4 straight up, 16-8-1 against the spread.
God damn.
Simon. Dallas is the play.
You probably are, but I already threw some on Rams at 7. I mean, that was way too high when it went up to 7. 6 feels right. So technically, I would still say the value is on the Rams, but you're right. Like, how is Stafford gonna have time to get the ball out? Just a bad scenario. But the positives to me is, I mean, that offense is bad in the Cowboys, Chad. I mean, think about that Chargers team, how suspect that defense is, and they probably should have beat. They probably should have beat this Dallas team. Like Dallas just seems like they play to the level of their competition this year. And, their only good win this year was beating that Jets team after such an emotional win the Jets had in week 1. Like, I kind of, I got a lot of questions about this Dallas team. No questions about their defense. Chad just said their defense is for real. Like, that pass rush is really good, but they still are down Diggs on that defense. To me, that's a big deal. I know Gilmore's played well for them, but you're going up against the best 1-2 receiver in the league. I mean, Eagles and Devontae Smith, AJ are incredible. Puka's out of this world. Like Puka with Cooper Kupp, it really is insane. I know a lot of it is to do with Stafford. Stafford is that good, but it's 7, Chad. This is a no-brainer on the Rams. But you're right. If it goes down to 6 again, I could probably be talked into the Cowboys. But yeah, we're probably going to disagree on this one.
Simon? I'm making the Cowboys my exec decision this week. I just did that.
Why?
Because
this is out of character.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. It is out of character, but here's why. I feel like I have historically had a bias against Dak and Mike McCarthy as favorites generally because I thought they underperformed. But then I started thinking about it. They perform very well at home. And that's when I asked Evan to look these numbers up because we talked about this earlier in the year too. The Cowboys perform well at home as big favorites.
Quick pause. Me and Chad have been knocked out of 2 Survivor contests the past 2 years, both on Dallas as home favorites. Just so people are aware that Chad does not remember this. 2 times, 2 years in a row.
Don't
Dallas,
remember it
favorites.
At all. The die has been cast. Dallas Cowboys. I got them at 6. I got the Cowboys at -6. I think them coming off a bye with that defense against a terrible Rams O-line and an opportunity to get right at home. Dallas Cowboys.
All right. You're growing off the deep end. This is off brand, Chad. There's a lot of on brand Chad games this week. I don't know why you're picking this one.
I don't know. I just been honestly, like I started doing some research yesterday and I started feeling really good about it. And I'm like,
go do more research. Go back to the drawing board. Just put this one on the side for now. This is not very Chad-like. I don't know what's happening right now.
All right, well,
this is old Chad. This is like 5 years ago, Chad. This is not new age Chad.
I knew you.
Yeah.
All right. Minnesota at Green Bay. Green Bay is a 2.5-point favorite. Look, this one opened as Green Bay +1, moved up to 2.5. One warning. Teams that open as a dog and move to a favorite since 2019, 42-81 against the spread. That includes Green Bay this week. We'll get to a couple of the other games as well. I don't have a strong feeling on this. After last night, I wanted to feel better about Minnesota because Kirk Cousins continues to play out of his mind. And at least last night, they don't have the same turnover luck. Maybe there's some turnover luck regression coming their way. But I think they also got lucky by some pretty bad decision-making defensively by the Niners and some turnovers by the Niners. So it's hard for me to feel strongly about this game.
Easy bet. Green Bay. There's no choice here, people. Kirk just had the game of his life and all the bounces went his way. Like that touchdown, the end of half, like that was.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You can't get more lucky than that. So I don't know what the luck rankings are yet. It's only Tuesday, but Green Bay is gonna be high up on that luck ranking.
Oh,
so
I'll get to the luck, buddy. I'll get to the luck rankings. We got one game, and it's a doozy.
So maybe by Thursday I'll get you to come around. But yeah, this is a spot play. You're taking Green Bay here. They look dead. They just lost to the worst team in football in Denver. Minnesota had the game of their life, completely destroyed what people perceived as the best team in football in the 49ers. This line is a pick, -1 Green Bay. The books are going to get so much Minnesota money here that I'm hoping this flips back to a dog for Green Bay. Like that would be amazing. We get +1.5. So now I'm making this Simon Says. You don't have to grab this right now. You can wait on this, but there's like a 90% chance this is one of me and Chad's 5. This is what this show does. The definition of buying low. This is a buy low spot for Green Bay.
The numbers move from 1 to 2.5. It's not at -1 or pick right now.
I mean, I'm looking at a book right now live. It's -1 Green Bay.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm looking at Bet365. So it could just be bouncing around all over the place right now.
Now it's +1 Green Bay.
Come on. Well, does that mean you want to make it as Simon says?
No, because the public is going to hammer this line. Like, it's just, we talked earlier on Sunday night. There's a couple of games that was just like, just wait. The public's going to bet this line, and they have. Like, we've had a bunch of numbers move up. So this is another one. Everyone, I'll let them come all in. You could grab the +1.5 right now. There is one very publicly known book that has them at +1.5 Green Bay, but I'll keep waiting and see if the line gets a little higher. I don't want to show my cards too early here to the books.
All right. Well, I'm glad to see that. I just want to double check and make sure. All right. Now, that is so strange. I got to tell you, right before we came on the air, I checked this number and it was Green Bay -2.5. And now it is Green Bay +1. That is just insane. All right. Atlanta at Tennessee. Tennessee +2. Sunday night, you're like, this one is tricky because we want to like Tennessee, but, like I just mentioned with Green Bay, Tennessee opened as a favorite. Now they're a dog. So the trend is against them. I'm sorry, Atlanta opened as a dog and is now the favorite. So the trend is against them. Titans getting the money on this right now. Let me know what you think of this. So this week, the Titans traded Kevin Byard, all-pro safety, to the Eagles. All hail Howie. We don't know who's going to be playing quarterback for the Titans yet. Feels like a smash Mike Vrabel spot. But I do worry, like, by trading Byard, is this a signal that they're starting to think about rebuild? Or do we care?
No, I don't care yet. I think Brady will still have his guys up to play, and this is a nice spot for Tennessee. But like you said, we don't know who the quarterback is. I mean, it was +1, now it's up to 2.5. You might as well wait. Like, this could get up to 3. I'll throw a little on the 2.5, but yeah, you're right, Chad. It's like a tough game to read. But we assume all the money will come in Atlanta just from that. People think Tennessee's given up. The number should go up. This is a great matchup for Tennessee's D line. Like, they're good at stopping the run, taking away the Atlanta. That's what Atlanta needs to do. They need a run to set up the pass. Like, that's kind of how their offense really funnels. So yeah, I don't know the whole story with Robinson. They could be getting in trouble for that as well. This Atlanta team. So I don't know what the punishment would be to them or to him, but yeah, weird vibes come out of Atlanta. We're getting Tennessee at a dog against an Atlanta team coming off a huge divisional road win. We're supposed to take Tennessee here. So Chad's right in his thinking. It's just we're hoping to get a better number. So another play, I'll just wait and get a better number.
You're referencing Bijan this past week, who was never on the injured list, but the Falcons said he was too sick to play, played one snap, then came out, and the NFL is investigating why he wasn't on the injury list and what potential punishments may be if there was something untoward with the Falcons in that situation. New England at Miami. Miami is a 9.5-point favorite. We did not bet New England last week, even though it was the exact right spot, as huge home dogs to the Bills. This is a pros Joe's game. Tickets on the Dolphins, money on the Patriots. I thought the Pats D was actually really good against the Bills. Like, they had sort of had their 2 weeks of not knowing who they are without Christian Gonzalez and Matthew Judon, and they schemed their way back into competence. Bills had 81 yards rushing, 3.38 yards per carry on the ground. Pats had 4 sacks. I think I would like this more if the Pats were at home and Miami had won against Philly, but also feel like I'm missing out on a big reason to take New England, and I can't figure out what it is.
Yeah, a couple of pros I know they took New England. I think the number was 11.5 before that Sunday night game, and they got a decent amount down on the Patriots. And their view was it's Belichick seen this offense second time around this season. Like, they've already played them early in the year. His defense played actually really well against them. And my counter to that is, well, they've lost their 2 best players from that game. And I know, they've had some guys who have stepped up for them against that Bills team. I mean, this feels like a Miami spot, right? The numbers move too much. If it was 10.5, I'd still like the Patriots. Now that it's under 10, to me, the value now is showing on this Miami team. So, yeah, it's a little chalky coming in on Miami here, but it just feels like the numbers move too much, and now I'm getting value on them. So I don't know if it'll be one of my 5, but yeah, I'll put a little on Miami here.
Interesting. By the way, Evan Abrams says Tua 15-5 against the spread at home in his career.
Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. All right. Houston at Carolina. Sunday night, you said that you really liked Houston. Both teams coming off a bye, better coach, better QB in Houston. All the money is on Houston. It 100% feels like we are walking into a trap with this game.
Yeah, that's what I said. So maybe we'll just avoid it, but I can't not take Houston here. It's a good number. I just have not seen anything to give me any type of hope on Carolina Panthers. And last week was like the get right week for all the bad teams, right? All these bad teams that hadn't been covering or hadn't been doing well, they finally got wins. They finally covered. Maybe that's people's logic here. Maybe that's why I'm seeing some money here show up on this Panthers team. But there's nothing for me to bet on. I have no angle to take with Carolina. Like I've been trying to find one. Ran the numbers, and it's like, nope, even my model thinks this is too low. So yeah, betting a road favorite rookie quarterback with a rookie head coach, Chad. This is not where I want to be. So it probably won't be one of our 5, but I'm definitely drinking this Houston Kool-Aid.
Well, look, there's one stat that I think will make you happy. 2 teams that are playing but when both are off of a bye. Favorite 38-23-1 the last 20 years. So,
it's a nice stat.
You got that going for you. But man, this just feels trappy. And I think it is because of what you just said. Like last week felt as though it was a get right week, and the Panthers didn't play last week. So now all of a sudden the Panthers are playing, and this feels like if there's ever going to be a time where they have an opportunity, it's to cover at least against a Houston team whose value is still overinflated because of how good CJ Stroud has been and the way they've played so far this year.
And I know it's early in the week, but just the one book I have pulled up right now, it's showing that 89% of the money is on the Panthers, but 84% of the tickets is on Houston. So apparently pro money is coming on this Carolina team, but I don't know. I need to talk to some people because I would love to hear what they're betting here. I just don't really see it here with this Panthers team.
It is it's very early in the week. Fair to say.
Very early.
Here's a hot take. We're going to talk about the New York Jets at, in quotes, the New York Giants. The Giants are 3-point dogs. Feel like we missed a little bit of an opportunity to take the Giants last week more prominently. Like we went 4-1, and so I'm not complaining about it. You really like the Giants. No, I'm not. You really liked the Giants last week, and I think we sort of just didn't like the number in the contest. We felt like we didn't like it at 2.5. We liked it better at 3, so we passed. Here's my hot take. After reading Bill Barnwell on the front page of ESPN.com yesterday, one of my favorites, the Jets defense is overrated. Here's why. 13 turnovers this season so far versus 16 of all of last season. But in a variety of other advanced stats, yards allowed per drive, points allowed per drive, they are middle of the pack. Pretty mediocre. So if they didn't have the luck of the turnovers they've been creating, then they might have different outcomes in some of these games that have made them look so miraculous with Zach Wilson at quarterback. Makes me wary of playing the Jets. But also, Brian Daboll hasn't committed to Daniel Jones as the starter yet. So we kind of don't know what we're getting from the New York Football Giants.
And nerds wonder why these football players just want to put them in lockers and beat the shit out of them. You know what, Bill Barnwell? Nah, I get where he's coming from, but dude, they dominated Mahomes, they dominated Jalen Hurts, and then they dominated Josh Allen. Like, yes, they've been lucky, dude, but I'm pretty sure that's a good defense. Simon says
I didn't say they were a bad defense. I said maybe not as good.
I think he said middle of the road. Isn't that what he said?
No.
It doesn't matter. Simon says, Giants, go grab the 3 right now. This is a smash spot. Love the Giants +3 against the Jets at home. Daniel Jones is about to lose his job. Like his team looks better without him. The guys look more confident. And I know they didn't really do much. People are going to be like, well, they didn't do much against Washington last week. They had little plays where they just missed, where I think like the more Taylor's playing in this offense, he'll be there. So obviously if Daniel Jones comes in, maybe that changes my viewpoint a little bit here, but that's just a good number. You're getting +3 at home against Zach Wilson. I gotta do it. I gotta take this number for this Giants team. So Simon says, I just think this number is going to come down to 2.5, 2 by kickoff. So I'm making this mine. Simon says, just to grab this important key number of 3 right now.
Tyrod Taylor, 32, 21, and 3 against the spread in his career. Look, the guy does not make mistakes. And I think that's why every year he's sort of a guy who's going to continue to be in the league. He's going to be a guy when teams are trying to figure out who they are, you put him back there and he's not going to screw things up for you. And in the NFL, a neutral play that gets you to the next down is better than a negative play that makes the next down much, much harder. Ask the Bears about Justin Fields and ask anybody who's got a playmaking quarterback versus a quarterback who keeps you in rhythm, keeps you on script. Like, you might not win as many games as you want to. Your ceiling won't be as high, but your floor isn't as low. And Daniel Jones has just been dreadful and making the bad plays. Tyrod Taylor is not going to screw up the offense for Brian Daboll.
Yeah, so right there, Chad told you, the Jets, they need the turnovers. That's what's been kind of great for them. And if it's Taylor who doesn't turn the ball over, that's what I like that angle a lot with this Giants team. I just think their offense looks better with him in there.
See, you came around to the nerdtastic ways.
Yeah, I just hated his phrasing. It's just like, all right.
By the way, I might have been saying they're mediocre. They were middle of the pack in all these other stats. But the exceptionalism is coming from the turnovers right now. We'll just agree to disagree, Simon. Jacksonville at Pittsburgh. I bet this immediately on Sunday night when it was at 2. Then it got up to 3.
Yeah.
Now it's down to 2.5.
Yeah.
It is a Pros Joe's game. The tickets are on Jacksonville. The money's on the Steelers. I'm trying to figure out, you've been unenthusiastic about this, but it's a rah-rah spot. Every precedent we believe in is it backs betting Tomlin and the Steelers in this spot. 18, 5, and 3 against the spread as a home dog is Mike Tomlin. 57, 31, and 4 overall as an underdog. Most profitable coach the past 20 years. By the way, that's a 64.5% number against the spread. So, they were much more effective with Kenny Pickett and George Pickens when Deontay Johnson was playing. Took a lot of pressure off Pickens. He runs great routes. We saw him be very effective against the Rams. What do we do here?
Yeah, we're in on. I told you I liked it Sunday night. I said to people,
just wait, though.
I said this number's going to go up. That was my whole point. Don't do what Chad did, which was he bet it too early. I said, just wait. It'll go up. It's at 2.5 now. We'll take the number. So, yeah, another game where I hate it, but it's one we can't avoid. Like, if we're going to keep doing what we do, which is, betting these trends, these Tomlin trends, then, yeah, I'll play it. But across the board, the Jaguars are better. But we saw they do have weaknesses, and that's that secondary. And Derek Carr, I think, threw for over 300 yards on them. Like, there are opportunities there. Pittsburgh has the weapons. So this is another game where keep my eye on the weather. If this is going to be a torrential downpour, bad weather, I probably won't have as much as I plan on betting on Pittsburgh here. But if it's all good throwing weather for Kenny, yeah, I like the advantage for this Pittsburgh wide receivers going against that secondary. And defensively, there's a lot of stuff that front can do that will give the Jaguars problems. The Jaguars don't have that great on O-line. So, I got duped last week. Clearly, Trevor Lawrence wasn't as banged up. But this is like a game right before their bye week where it's like they just got to make it to that bye week, right? Get all the guys healthy, make it to another bye week where this Pittsburgh team should not be overlooked. Like, there's a reason they got, what is it, 4-2 now? They got some good wins. Definitely overreacted too much to, they lost that week 1 to the 49ers. They lost week 2 to the Browns team, and we've seen, they're actually not as bad as we thought they were those first couple of weeks. Those other teams were actually pretty good. So don't hate it. 2.5. Obviously, me and Chad, if this was up to 3.5 in contest, no brainer play. 2.5 though. Don't mind taking that value right now.
I think the Jags will be a really interesting team in the back half of the year, because Doug Peterson last year, Trevor Lawrence, once he got in the second half of the year, a significantly different and better quarterback than he was in the first half of the year. Doug Peterson, historically, significantly better as a coach, record-wise, against the spread-wise, in the latter half of the year than he is in the first half of the year in September, October. So I think this Jaguars team, we might be finding some value, especially if in this game they underperform or the Steelers find a way through their defense to steal another win. Speaking of rah-rah Mike Tomlin spots, we took the Steelers in every spot that we can. Matt Mitchell, we're bringing him back. Our action engineer, Dustin, and his lovely voice, singing his REO Speedwagon inspired song about Mike Tomlin and his rah-rah spots. As a reminder, for the second time, you can catch every episode of The Favorites live on YouTube. So for those enjoying on YouTube, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. Also, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, you didn't get the Dustin song, we're going to insert it into the podcast. New Orleans at Indy, Simon. Very tricky spot. Colts were dogs. Now they're favored. Remember, teams in that scenario, 42-81 against spread the past 5 years. Last week, we bet New Orleans when they were dogs. They ended up as the faves. We thought we had a good number. Totally makes me sick to say this. I lean Saints. Wouldn't be surprised if they snuck in as a 5th pick in our contest. The defense is just really good. Like, second most 3-and-outs in the league. Turnovers in every game. I don't see them not getting a turnover against Minshew. Their opponents have a league-low 17.8 passer rating on throws of 20 yards or more. We saw how many times Gardner Minshew threw picks against the Browns when he was trying to go downfield. The problem is that Derek Carr is truly awful.
Yeah, and I can't get away from it. It's like we're supposed to take the Saints here, aren't we?
Yes.
Minshew's splits against zone and man are alarming. Like, this guy, he can look like an all-pro when it's man, but then when it's zone, he is what he is a backup quarterback. Like, he just cannot throw against zone. So I don't know what the hell happened in that Browns game. Maybe it was just a game where they banged their heads against that 49ers team that rode the high all week, and they just were unprepared against this Colts team. But yeah, that the refs gave the Browns that win. Like, the Colts should have won that game. Tons of terrible calls went against them. And yes, they're coming off a loss here, but it still feels like the public's buying a little high on this Colts team, where the fact this number's flipped. I mean, I normally would jump right in on the Saints one. I'm going to wait on this and talk to some people, like, because it could be really smart money coming on the Colts team and they have a read here, but I'm right there with Chad. It's like, I'm getting the better defense as a dog. I'm getting the better quarterback as a dog. I know it's not saying much compared to Minshew, but Derek Carr, biggest issues are those red zones, man. And it looked like he kind of figured some stuff out last week. Like, they kind of did some things where, as much as I would love to blame him for having a shitty game, it's like the guy dropped the tight end in the back of the end zone at the end of the game. Like, that's not Derek's fault. He made the right read, made a good throw. That's football. Those plays just happen. So I feel terrible for the guy, but it was right there. And it was right there to land on one. Like, they would have gone for 2. In my mind, there was no doubt they were going to go for 2 if they had scored that touchdown. And that felt like that game was going to land right on that number. So kind of sickening because we had good value last week, didn't come through. Maybe I'm chasing it here, but it's like the value is on the Saints. I'm gonna wait, talk to some guys, see what they're betting here, just because it's another game that just feels a little too easy and it doesn't make sense, this number.
Well, the problem is the defense is so good, and Derek Carr through his career has been serviceable enough that it makes you feel like there's competence and that they can sneak one in, especially against a team like this, or especially at home against the Jags. And look, they should have had that game, right? There were a couple of bad plays, and then right at the worst moments, their defense revealed, and the Jags moved down the field, and Tyrann Mathieu got beat in a really bad spot in the final 2 minutes. But then they were able to move the ball down the field again and get into that spot to score a touchdown. So there's no reason for us not to back the Saints. Like, they could be the better team here. Just hard to do it.
Yeah, they're just the better coachings on the Colts side, and we know that for a fact. It's like,
yeah,
we have the proof in the pudding. Dennis Allen he's a bad head coach. He's the worst head coach we've ever seen in football, technically, ATS record wise. So that's definitely the big pushback here from a lot of people.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is not a great spot. All right. Your Philadelphia Eagles had a big win on Sunday night, I mean, against Miami. They're now going on the road. We don't know what's going on with Jalen Hurts. Is he hurt or is he not? Playing at Washington. The number's at 6.5. We talked about this on Sunday. We'd like to wait for it to get to 7. I feel like if I were to self-scout our season so far, the biggest sort of misses we've had is we haven't been as aggressive this year as we have in the past, taking home dogs. We've been a little more nervous about it than we have in the past, a little more gun shy. This, to me, feels like a spot where you're going to want to take Washington.
I think we're on like 5 home dogs this week, Chad. Are you feeling all right?
I mean, the big home dogs. Like, we've ignored Arizona a couple times in the contest as a big home dog. We ignored Miami last week as a big home dog. I don't mean the short home dogs. I mean like the touchdown, nearly touchdown or more home dogs.
We've missed a lot of big favorites too, though. You won't let me bet big favorites either, Chad. You can't have it both ways. Like, I've loved Miami's these big favorites, and every week you're just like, the number's too big, and we don't take it. I mean, it's tough. We're doing a balancing act here.
Can I tell you something else? I think there is something wrong with me this week. Like, I have been cloudy the whole freaking week. I'm forgetting things. I'm mistyping things. I honestly, I do think there might be something wrong with me.
Yeah, you just had a weekend with the boys. You'll be all right. Let's go here with Washington. I mean, we don't have a choice. Like, divisional home dog. The hype is very high on the Eagles right now. Washington is a good buy low spot. They just got embarrassed. Tons of turnovers. Sam, I think he's on pace to like blow out the record that Carr's brother set, David Carr, years ago, the sack record.
Yep.
Eagles front 4, huge advantage. Like, there's nothing I can find with Washington that gives me hope other than the fact that they usually play these games very close. I think they already played this year, and I think the Eagles won by 3. Really close matchups usually. It's tough. It feels like I need to talk to more guys because it feels like we're doing the Chargers thing from last week where it's just like, well, these teams always play close. Let's just take the number here. But I like the way Washington matches up with the Eagles, and then the Eagles there's something not right. Like, Hurts and his turnovers, like all these little things. Yes, it was incredible. He was able to overcome throwing a pick 6, and they won by 14 against Miami, but it's just, man, you can't get away with that kind of stuff. Like, throwing those turnovers. Like, he had a fumble, I think, on the Eagles 30 yard line. So yeah, like, it's painful to do here, people, but we're going by the book. We're going what gets us to 60% every year. And this is a spot. Like, this is a nice spot to take Washington plus 6.5. Would love if it gets to 7. I just don't think the pros are going to let it get there. So once again, I'll throw a little on the 6.5, but don't be shocked if this is our big balls bet come Thursday.
It feels like it might be. And Evan had a great stat last week about division games. The dogs in division games the past years, something like 60 games over 500 against the spread. And when the number moves higher, that becomes an even bigger discrepancy. I mean, it's the reason why we liked Atlanta last week, but it's also the reason why we liked the Chargers last week. And so that's what makes it so scary. But I do think, we kind of got to go with Washington here.
Yeah, big week for home dogs. Like a lot of public overreaction, which they won't learn their lesson. I mean, they got burned horribly last week, and I think they're going to walk right into it again this week. Like, there's just a lot of favorites where the public perceives them as being much better than the team they're playing against, where it's like these teams are much closer than people realize. So, this week we're definitely heavy on home dogs right now.
The stat is overall dogs in division games are 60 games above 500 against the spread the last decade. 40 games since 2020. And since 2015, home no, since that doesn't apply. It's just the first one that matters. But geez Louise, I know it's another one, right, Simon? I see you laughing at me. It's like I'm still foggy. I don't know what the hell's going on here. But yeah, we're gonna be on Washington. That's really the bottom line. On Sunday night, we talked about this game. Cleveland at Seattle. It was at 2.5. It's been bet up to 3. I bet this at 2.5. I bet Seattle minus 2.5. Shout out to Brandon Anderson, who had this as one of his hot reads. Seattle defense is just really good against the run. And that may be all the Browns can do because we don't know what's happening with Deshaun or if PJ Walker is going to play. The money is coming in on the Seattle. It's not the public on Seattle. It's not the public backing the Seahawks. And you mentioned it. You look at that Colts game, the Colts should have beaten the Browns. Like, they didn't win because PJ Walker was so great. They won because there were 3 pass interference / defensive holding calls on the final drive that gave the Browns the game. It just did. So I bet Seattle 2.5. I don't know how you're going to feel about Seattle at -3 in the contest, but I did like Seattle -3.
I wouldn't do it. This D line is going to have a field day with a Seattle front. Like, this is a bad front. Gino, if he's off his spot, he's useless. The guy can't be thrown off his spot. He's just a guy that likes to be in rhythm. I get it though. Like, Seahawks, you're catching her to 3. You're playing what you presume to be a backup quarterback in PJ. Or even if it is Deshaun. Deshaun's looked like ass all year anyway. It's not like it's a great number. So I guess we can just pass on it because I'll take the good defense with a 3. Probably will throw some on the under here. Like, Seahawks have a good defense as well. Last week was just a bad week for this Browns defense. Like, I don't think they were going to be breaking all the world records. But did I see Minshew having a career day against them? No. Like, that's just football though. Weird things happen like that. Bad scheme. You expect the Browns here to come better prepared, right? The Seahawks team, I believe the Cardinals had something weird stat. I think Evan was one that posted. They were like +3 in turnover margin in that game against the Seahawks, yet they still lost by double digits, which is like happened.
Team is a 7-point dog or higher, who are +3 or better in the turnover battle, which the Cardinals were 165-6-3 against the spread. So the Cards are now one of those 6 teams.
So that's what's making me nervous about the Seahawks teams. They just might be one of those incredibly lucky teams where it's like, not only they got talent, but they have a lot of luck on their side. So, I'll probably just wait. Again, I have no money on this game yet. If it gets a 3.5, no brainer. Like, I'll be all over this team. But at 3, my guy Chad here already likes the Seahawks. I'll just wait on this one, but definitely not one that'll be one of our 5.
Baltimore at Arizona. Arizona +8.5. And this is what I was just talking about. Like, we've been hesitant to bet bigger home dogs. We talked a little bit about this on Sunday night. You just mentioned the crazy stat. I'll repeat it. In 174 games, in the wild card era, teams that were 7-point dogs or more, so that was the Cardinals on Sunday, who had a +3 or better turnover margin. That was the Cards as well. They were 165, 6-3 against the spread. So the Cards are now one of the teams that lost, right? Feels like a smash spot for the Cardinals. Huge home dogs. Baltimore just dominated one of the most public teams in football. All the tickets are on Baltimore. Simon?
Yeah, just a game. Don't be shocked, people. This is one of our 5. It's Chad just said it. It's a good spot. I already talked about Cardinals first half. You got to bet it. They're a weird team, man. Like they come out so well prepared and they do well in the first half, and then the second half they just lay these eggs. Like their offense falls into a shell of itself. Zach Ertz, he's been money for them on third downs this year. They just put him in IR. That's a big deal. Like you're taking away a guy that's been a safety blanket for them on third downs. Like he's gone. James Conner's gone. This is already a team that was lacking talent on offense. Now you're taking away 2 of their better weapons. So, I hate it where it's like me and Chad were supposed to take Arizona here. Everything about this is saying take Arizona. This game here, if the Ravens win this, they go on a 3-game homestead after this. Like they're definitely looking ahead to that where it's just like we just got to get through this one more road game on this shitty ass field they have down in Arizona where everyone complains about that damn field. But I hate it. It makes me sick, Chad, but we're supposed to take the 8.5 here. I got this number at 7. We're getting 1.5 of value. Don't go crazy betting this one right now, but like I've definitely placed a decent amount in the 8.5 right now. But wouldn't be shocked to see this number go up just because they do have such serious injuries on that Arizona side. But in the back of my mind, taking it now because what if Kyler comes back? What if he does come back for this game? And yeah, I get it. He could be rusty, all that other stuff. But it's like people forget this guy is such an insane weapon. To know that we have him with 8.5 points feels pretty damn good. So it's definitely a bet I'm making right now, but I'm not going too crazy on it as we're sitting here on Tuesday.
You mentioned luck rankings. Cincinnati at San Francisco, the Niners, 5.5-point favorites. Bengals coming off a bye. The Niners had a lot of chances against Minnesota to wrap up a dirty, ugly game. 3 turnovers. That first half 60-yard touchdown that you and I have talked about, that Steve Wilkes uncharacteristically blitzes, leads to the touchdown. They missed a field goal. This will be the biggest luck rankings matchup of the week. It'll be a 26-point difference between San Francisco and Cincy. It's a little scary because we love Joe Burrow. We love Joe Burrow off a bye. He's great as an underdog, but the numbers are going to say back Cincinnati at under 6, back San Francisco at under 6.
Yeah, and the big fear to me, like looking on the field, is the defenses have found something here in the last 2 weeks, and we know it's a copycat league. So if you go and watch the Browns game, what the Browns were doing was they were rushing 3-4 guys and then dropping the rest into a coverage. And that's exactly what the Vikings did against Purdy. It was just simply Purdy actually can scramble. So what these teams have been doing is they will rush 3 and you have that 4th defender drop into a zone reading position where he's like, okay, if he's going to rush out, I'll pick him up. Or if he tries to move outside the pocket, I'll go throw pressure on him. So the book might be out on Purdy, Chad. Like I talk all the time, like eventually they were going to figure him out. I said it all off season. These guys have tape. They're going to figure out eventually what this kid does not like. And they're going to take away the things he does like. Now he's missing Debo. He's missing arguably the best tackle in all of football. That's not Purdy's fault. Like that's not scheme. Like that's a real thing. You're taking away his key positions here. So, yeah, the Bengals were supposed to take them here. Like it was +6, it's +5.5 now. But I can't stop thinking about all of Joe Burrow's struggles. He's not the quarterback he's been these past couple seasons. Go look at his balls downfield. He is terrible at throwing the ball 20+ yards downfield. So we have so many damn home teams. That's what's making me sicker. Where it feels like I need to force in a road team. But Yeah, Chad's right. Like the lines probably moved too much. The lines probably shifted to the value of the 49ers. I need to talk to some people watch more film because I am worried about Purdy. Like that, those defensive sets were real. He had easy reads and he wasn't taking the easy read. He was forcing the ball downfield into coverage. Not what I want to see here. So yeah, I'm with you, Chad. Like it's telling me we should take the 49ers, but I'm gonna wait on this one.
I am very excited for sharp calls this week. I'm excited for sharp calls when they say, "Oh my God, Chat's spot on about the Cowboys," and I'm excited to see the reaction to some of these games where we know the math is saying one thing and our hearts might be saying another thing, and if they can help us tip the scales a little bit. The last game that I think is the biggest challenge, which I know we're going to have to do, Denver +8, home dog against Kansas City. I did bet it at this number. It was 8.5 on Sunday.
Yeah.
The only reason we were waiting is we were hoping it might go a little bit higher. It's moved in the direction of the Broncos. Not surprising. Massive pros Joe's game right now. It moved down to 7.5, went back up to 8. It's toggling between those two numbers, at least from what I've seen all day here on Tuesday. That's why I took the 8. Are you still feeling like this is a game that we agreed on Sunday night? Like we're looking at this and we got to take the Broncos?
Yeah, it sucks though, but
Yeah. Because the
you
Chiefs
got to do it.
defense,
Chiefs
dude, you
Chiefs
said
might have
this.
the best defense in football. We've been saying that since
Yeah.
whatever it was, week 2, where they've just looked like the most complete defense. But the guy I just put a lot of stock in on their defense, Bolton, he's their linebacker. The kid's been an absolute stud. He's not going to be in this game. He dislocated his wrist. He's going to miss this game, which that should
4 games. He's
favor.
out for a month.
Yeah, that's to me that should be a big deal. Like I put him right up there as one of the best linebackers in all of football. So, yeah, Chad, like not shocking the pros came in on this number. I was hoping this would go up, but we do this every time. We take Denver every time here in this spot, and nothing's changed here. We're getting a 7.5 home divisional dog. Chad's already hit you with all the stats. It's by the book. It's what you're supposed to do here. We can't avoid it. All these home dogs this week, we can't avoid them. Like this is another one. We got to take it.
Well, here's the thing. Like, look, we bet all these home dogs. We bet the big home dogs. In theory, not in theory, in practice, you win these 55 to 60% of the time. So it doesn't mean we believe we're going to sweep the board with Denver +8 or Arizona +8.5 or Washington +6.5, right? Forgetting about
we're trying to go 3-2, baby.
Right. Like, you know, we expect to win 2 of those 3 games when we're betting those big dogs. We don't expect to win all of them, but the expectation is we'll win 2 of those 3 games. But
playing the numbers.
When your misery, when you were like, yeah, we got to do it.
I just love the Chiefs. The Chiefs are so good on film.
I know.
Like their defense, Spags got them playing out of their mind offensively. Like, yeah, take away Kelsey, that team's gonna fall apart. But the dude's humming right now with Mahomes. They're just so in sync. It's ridiculous. And
I don't know.
No Taylor Swift, hopefully. No Taylor Swift in Denver, hopefully.
I know, because she's a shining light. Everywhere she goes, she brings joy, optimism, goodwill, good cheer, and good vibes for Travis Kelce.
No comment.
Chicago Bears at the LA Chargers. Chargers are 8.5-point favorites on Sunday Night Football. I don't have a feeling.
Keep it moving. We'll talk about this one maybe on Thursday. I got nothing on this.
Yeah, I don't. It's like in my notes, I just wrote no thanks. That's basically what I wrote.
We're supposed to take the Bears, but I have no idea what to do with it.
I don't know what to do with it either. Believe you me, I've had more than one conversation about QB1 versus QB2 on the Chicago Bears in the past 24 hours.
What a sad life a Bears fan is.
That might be why my head is so screwed right now. No joke. I was on the phone with my buddy this morning who I was with in Columbus this weekend, and he was trying to ignore a call from the CFO at his company so we could finish our conversation about the Chicago Bears quarterback situation. we just can't get off it. We got a lot of deep feelings about it. Las Vegas Raiders visiting the Detroit Lions, Monday Night Football. This is a kneecaps for dinner game for Dan Campbell. He's coming off a loss, huge favorite. You said on Sunday, I think you said it might be time to take a piece of the Lions, even at this big of a number. I don't know that this is a contest play, especially not on a Monday night. But I don't know if you still have strong feelings about it.
Yeah, I threw a little on the 7.5. It's up to 8.5 at some books now, and it's just no real read. If you do like the Raiders, you could get a good number because Jimmy G could come back and maybe the line will move. That will benefit you, but it feels like we know what Detroit is. They're a really talented team. They're well coached, and I just don't see them laying another egg after such a bad game last week. But yeah, Chad's right. Like this is not one of my 5 favorite bets. Happy to stay away from it.
It's interesting. I'm looking at our games right now. Amongst our favorite bets, we, the royal we, love Dallas -6. We're going to keep an eye on Green Bay, see how that goes. You like Miami -9.5 is a huge favorite. And by the way, I have not been hesitant to put in huge favorites. We talked a lot about Miami as a huge favorite a few weeks ago, and I think I was on board. We decided not to do it collectively.
Okay.
Do you have a different memory of that conversation?
Yeah, but it doesn't even matter. The past is the past.
Dude, you're so Mike Tomlin. Simon says is New York Giants +3.
Let's go.
We like the Steelers +2.5. We
Let's
like the
go.
Saints +1. Washington +6.5. Arizona +8.5. We lean San Francisco -5.5. Denver +8. Holy moly.
That's ugly. That is ugly.
That is a lineup of moral stinkitude right there. Full on stinkitude. As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boosts with them than with anyone else. Every day they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays. And they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boost. Check out the boosts and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Colorado, Iowa, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms and conditions and restrictions apply. Be sure to catch our next episode of The Favorites live on the Action Network YouTube page this Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Thank you for making us the #1 sports betting podcast and for keeping us there all season long. That is no joke, folks. We truly appreciate it. Part of the reason we get there, you listen all the way through, you download us from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, then you rate, review, subscribe, you leave us 5 stars, you say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift. Until Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern, love you.